Welcome back to the Lucas Oil 200 from Iowa Speedway. Again, the 10th race of the 2010 season. 77 degrees, so temperatures dropped just a bit since about 15 minutes ago. Mostly cloudy skies. Looks a little ominous back there. That's looking back to the west. So we hope that we don't have any problems with precipitation. Our starting grid's going to roll across the bottom of the screen. A couple young guys down there starting up front. Austin Dillon with his third consecutive pole. And we take a look at our Z-Max track description.
What a great racetrack. We just talked about it a few moments ago. You see just under a mile in length, 7/8. The corners are progressively banked from 12 to 14 degrees. And racing, man.
Isn't it amazing how much difference a degree makes? I mean, the track looks normal. It looks like every other track we've ever raced on. But just that little bit of variation in the banks allows these guys so many options when they get down to the corners. They can go all the way to the apron, Rick, or they can go all the way out next to the wall.
You mentioned options. We take a look at our Royal Purple Synthetic Oil race analysis. What kind of options and strategy are we going to use today?
Well, we talked about it earlier. Last night in the ARCA race, tires maybe don't mean that much. We were talking to some of the crew chiefs in the garage here and said, hey, track position may be more critical. Eric Almirola used pit strategy 2 tires last year to go from about 8th to 2nd. So we may see more of that tonight.
I think you'll definitely see more of it. These guys can't get up front. They'll use tire strategy, pit strategy to get there.
We want to take a look at 4 drivers that will shine a spotlight on today in our Speed Spotlight. Ray Dunlap, who do you have in your spotlight?
Well, Rick, for all the Camping World Truck Series fans out there, they may have never heard of Greg Pursley, but boy, has he done a lot in his racing career. From motorcycles to road courses, he's won in everything he's ever done. The Southwest Tour, the K&N Pro Series, and he won the 2004 Short Track National Championship for NASCAR. In that year, he won 13 of 18 races at Irwindale. This guy's a proven winner. Today, he's very, very excited about making his first Camping World Truck Series start, and he had a great qualifying effort. Krista?
Yeah, he's got a sporty-looking truck in that black and blue paint scheme, but so does Patty Rodenbeck. You see him there in the 82, a really young guy. He's only 19 years old. It's already been an interesting weekend for him. In qualifying yesterday, you see here, it's a little bit loose, and yeah, spins out. Never been in a truck before. Actually, was supposed to qualify at Martinsville, but due to weather there, wasn't able to, so he's making his very first NASCAR Camping World Truck Series start today. Phil?
Krista, I want to keep an eye on 21-year-old Chris Eggleston. He'll be making his 5th start of the year. He is not qualified outside the top 20 yet. He's looking to run Talladega later on this year. He was a 2009 ASA North champ, and he attends Colorado State University. And Chris will start from the 16th position, Mikey.
Phil, let's look at Green Level, Pennsylvania's Norm Benning. Norm's driving the number 57 truck. He had his best finish of the year just a couple weeks ago at Texas. He finished 17th there. He's starting 32nd today. Look for Norm to be solid all day long.
And Norm Benning and the rest of our Speed Spotlights are going to have to chase some very strong trucks around this racetrack today. 2 of those starting up front. Eric Almirola on the outside. Austin Dillon, again, 3rd consecutive pole in the Camping World Truck Series. He and Danny Stockman have got that figured out, that combination of what you've got to do to go fast for 1 lap. Can he figure it out for 200 laps? Can Austin Dillon get to victory lane? We're about to find out. Green flag in the air at Iowa.
Austin Dillon takes the low line and gets ahead of Eric Almirola. That's kind of a tough decision, Phil, whether to start on the bottom or the top. He took the bottom, and look,
4 wide. 4 wide coming out of turn number 4.
We've got to make notes on how many times we say 3, 4 wide. That's what this place is all about. These guys are going to be all over one another. Eric Almirola clears for 2nd, takes that position away.
Brian Eichler settles in 3rd.
Brian Eichler driving that number 18 truck. Kyle Busch in Chicago this weekend, so not able to make the trip down, and Eichler behind the wheel of that truck. We'll see how he does today.
Side-by-side battle for 5th there. Timothy Peters, the 17 on the outside. Stacy Compton, the 60, was on the inside of him. Now he's in the middle of a 3-wide battle. That's the 2nd time.
Yeah, it'll go on and on.
Matt Crafton to the high side, and he ran the ARCA Racing Series race last night and gave him a little more seat time on this racetrack. Has a very good truck today. We'll see if he can move that number 88 to the front.
You can see the 62 truck of Greg Pursley. He's into the 4th spot. Really solid start for that team. Timothy Peters right behind in pursuit.
Battle for 2nd about to take place. Eric Almirola being chased very closely by that 18 of Brian Eichler. And We see the 3 of Austin Dillon has already put about 1.1 seconds on the second place Almirola.
And there is the battle for second, Rick. And you talking about the guys in the garage area said that 3 truck of Austin Dillon was the class of the field in practice. You know, Phil, as they run more and more laps, though, sometimes practice doesn't tell you what you have at the end of a long run. So these guys will certainly monitor how their trucks are behaving once the long run gets to taking place. But right now, practice is right. Austin is fast.
I'll tell you, that 18 truck right there, Brian Eichler knows how to get around this place.
He's high.
Problems
way high.
A big wiggle from Brian Eichler. He's trying to hang on to it and get back in the groove.
Boy, it almost looked like maybe the truck hit the splitter, hit the racetrack, and just obviously when the splitter hits the racetrack, then you have really no tires on the track. He slid way up the hill.
Either that or he got a little bit loose maybe getting in, Phil, and had to correct it to the right. Let's see if we can see what happens here.
It looked like he bottomed out a little bit when he got over into turn number 3. It looked like he had thoughts of maybe going to the outside of Eric Almirola.
Greg Pursley checked up a bit in that 62 behind him, but now is back up to speed. Pursley holding on to the 4th spot. An impressive run for the newcomer to the Camping World Truck Series.
You see Matt Crafton around the outside of Timothy Peters. That truck looks really strong early in the going as well.
This has not been a typical season for Matt Crafton. We're so used to seeing him
just steady,
steady. But here, Greg Pursley, what a great debut here in the Camping World Truck Series for him. But he's going to have his mirror full of Matt Crafton here in just a moment.
That's because that 88 truck is really fast. He can drive it anywhere he wants to. See if he chooses to go low or high.
What a phenomenal facility that enables you to take those choices. He runs all the way down to the yellow line, Matt Crafton does, trying to make the pass on Pursley. Pursley was up 3 lanes higher. Ray Dunlap.
Well, just to give you a little ad on Greg Pursley, this is a nice piece of equipment that he's driving today. They bought this truck from Kevin Harvick Incorporated, and last year this truck ran at New Hampshire and Martinsville. Kevin drove it at both of those races. How about this for finishes? 3rd at New Hampshire, 5th at Martinsville. They know they've got a good piece of equipment, and Pursley doing a nice job of holding the wheel.
And holding off Matt Crafton, Timothy Peters, Johnny Sauter, all winners in this series.
And right now, that 62 of Greg Pursley is running ahead of both the KHI trucks of Kenny Schrader and Ron Hornaday.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I actually questioned from yesterday's practices. Hornaday didn't seem to find the handle of that number 33 truck. Didn't really have a competitive truck in practice, and I was hoping to see maybe some improvements on that. Now running in the 14th spot.
Make that 15th, Rick, as James Busher drove the inside of Hornaday. So you're right, that truck isn't exactly the way he needs it.
You see the separation for 2nd and 3rd. Eric Almirola a bit further back, as you see already Austin Dillon setting a blistering pace. Whoa, and he's getting into a little bit of tight territory here. Austin Dillon putting a few trucks a lap down early on in this race. Only the 12th lap of this race. Austin Dillon, Eric Almirola, and Brian Eichler are your top 3. Just the second time we've come to Iowa Speedway in the land of corn. Mike Skinner dominated a year ago, but will it be a new face that's in victory lane? You got to stay with us here on Speed to find out. Tomorrow night, only one NASCAR show delivers the drivers, the crew chiefs, the latest news and information and expert analysis from the epicenter of NASCAR Nation, Charlotte, North Carolina. Don't miss a full hour of NASCAR Race Hub presented by Hooters tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, only on Speed.
We're going to have a big announcement tomorrow on the Race Hub with a new driver to the series here in the Camping World Truck Series.
I'm looking forward to that.
A lot of good things happen in the Truck Series. Tomorrow will be a fun day.
Right now, a fun day for Austin Dillon as he has a 1.4 second lead, but that lead shrunk way down when Austin was going through some of the traffic. Eric Almirola was able to close that gap to about 0.6 of a second, but now he's expanding it once again in the clear racetrack. Let's find out a little bit more about Austin Dillon with Krista.
Just to give you a little insight on what they're talking about on the radio, you basically heard 2 things. You've heard spotter Andy Houston say, great job, good corner. And then you've heard Austin Dillon, the driver, talk about how he's free on the backstretch and mentioning how tough it is to get through that lap traffic.
Timothy Peters.
Yeah, you ought to have seen the battle these guys were having, Rick. Check it out, coming off turn 4. Looked like That's off 2. Johnny Sauter decided he'd squeeze up in front of Timothy Peters. He had tried to do it a couple of times. Timothy said, okay, you can have that spot, but I just want you to know I didn't appreciate how you took it. And then watch, Ty Bodine dives in on the outside of Timothy and takes away that spot. Tough lap for Timothy, and it all started because of the fact that